Hey guys, today we were coming home and we had a little bit of a problem. We had a big squeal up in here somewhere, and I know it's not this, so it's either down in here the tensioner, or it's this idler pulley right up on top, right up in here. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to figure out which one it is, show you how to do that, and go ahead and change it, and show you how to change it. So let me show you what the problem is first. There it is. Hear that squeal? That is really irritating. So we're going to take care of that today. Alright guys, these are the tools you're going to need in order to do the job. You're going to need a 1/2 inch breaker bar capable of 35 to 47 foot-pounds. And right in the center is 41 foot-pounds. You're going to need a breaker bar in order to release the serpentine belt off the tensioner. You can either use a 1/2 inch 13mm deep socket or a 3/8 drive millimeter socket in order to get the center bolt out of the tensioner. I prefer to use like a small 3/8 drive stubby ratchet or a palm ratchet. I don't own a palm ratchet, so I use my little stubby. It makes things go a lot faster than a big long 3/8 drive ratchet. In order to adapt to the 1/2 inch torque wrench for torquing it down, you're going to need a 1/2 inch to 3/8 drive adapter and a 13mm socket, or you can just use a 1/2 inch deep millimeter socket to do that in place of this one, or the same one. Either one's fine. If it's really hot out, you're probably going to want something to wipe your face off to keep the salt sweat out of your eyes, because oh, that gets nasty. It's it's 96 degrees, a heat index of 98 with like 60-70% humidity. It's a little toasty out here today. You're going to need the part itself, and there's a lot of good part numbers out there for this particular item. The one I took off actually happens to be a dually, and it's a Ford approved, as you can see right there. And if you don't want to change this whole part out, you can just change the noisy pulley if you don't have the money to change this. I think I paid $59 on this, but if you want, you can just change these out. I believe at the auto parts store these are about 30 bucks a piece, either one. The bolts are 13mm along with the one that goes in the middle. The torque spec for this one, the mounting bolt for the tensioner, and this idler pulley are all the same, including the one in here, the idler pulley right there. All the torque specs for that is 35 to 47 foot-pounds, or 41 right in the middle. So you can just change that if you can't afford it. This one is actually good minus this pulley, and I could have changed it, but this is the original one that came on the truck in 2001, so I decided to just change the whole thing. All right, if it's really hot out, again, you might want something to drink, hot, and some electrolytes, keep you from getting cramps. You'll probably want a step stool to stand on, or if you go out on Amazon, you can pick one of these up for like 50 bucks. This is a great item, with one exception. The little rubber grommets right here, they like to tear up and come off, and then these bolts start sticking into your tire. I don't like that, so I always keep a eye on it. You can see this one right here. It's starting to come out right there. See that? So keep an eye on those if you own one of these, and I'll put a link to where I got that, so you know which one to buy or not to buy, or whatever. All right, so with that being said, let's just go ahead and get to the job here. Right now, to find out which one of these pulleys is squealing, don't forget that you've got this one, you've got your water pump. Now the water pump, this little trick I'm going to show you isn't necessarily applicable because of where it's at, and you can't really get down there. But what the trick is you can take your screwdriver, and a big long screwdriver, you can stick it on there, and then put your ear right here, or put it right on the skin right in front of your ear, or on your ear, and then go around and do that in different areas right here. And what it'll do is it'll isolate it right to that noise. Now it's really hard to get down in this one. I didn't want to get my head down there, but I did this one, it sounded normal. I did this one, it sounded normal. This one, don't stick your screwdriver in there and get on those windings. That's not good. So do it over here, or be real careful, and you can put it right here and do it. But I did all of these three and they were perfectly normal, and I knew the sound was coming from here. So that isolated it to this one, the compressor, which is brand new, which I was pretty sure it wasn't, or it was this one down here. This one right here was definitely squealing like a banshee. And I could have put my ear down here, but once I isolated these three and they weren't it, I knew it was this one. And this is the one I didn't want it to be because I have to take the belt off of this, and I hate doing this belt. And more than likely, when I change out this belt, I'm going to go ahead and do a video on that. And the reason we'll be changing this belt out is because I had another one on here. It was a Goodyear Gator back or something like that. And I hated it because it made a lot of noise because of the ribs in it. And so anytime I take a belt off, I try to change them before they go bad. And I take the belt I took off and I throw it in the back in the package of the new belt. That way I know the part number and stuff. And what happened was my wife was at the store, and she said she started up the truck, heard a bang, and power steering went out, and the alternator battery light came on. So that was a sure sign to me that we blew a belt. So anyway, so I just took the spare out, spent about I guess 15 minutes at the store and changed this belt, and we drove home. It's been fine since, but this is my backup. I'll replace it and put it back in there. And that's kind of unrelated to this, sort of, because in order to change these pulleys down here, you have to pull this belt off these areas right here. So anyways, it's about ready to storm and thunder here, so I can't do this today, doggone it. But I wanted to get this portion of the video shot for you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this tensioner out of here. The first thing you need to do is go ahead and remove the belt. And there is a little port on there, a little square port, and it'll look like this one here on the new unit. Let me bring this out here. This is the new unit, and the one we're playing with, this is basically the same thing right here as down there. See the groove with the teeth on it and the smooth one? And if you look right here, you can see the groove where the belt goes over. That's this one. That's the groove pulley. That's the same as this one. And then this little raised area right here with the little square, that's this little raised area right here. And there's a little 1/2-inch hole in there. And that's what you need to get your breaker bar in. That's this right here. And we're going to put that in there. Let me set this one aside. Let me get the camera set back up for you guys. And we're going to go ahead and get our breaker bar in there. I recommend you use a breaker bar because, trust me, make sure it gets in there all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring it this way. And then let me see if I can tilt up. Okay, what you don't see is right here under my hand. Let me see if I can pull this out. There's another pulley here. We're going to bring this back, and then we're going to slip this belt off and bring it above this pulley. So here we go. So let's pull it back, and we're going to slip the belt off and bring it up right here. Release it gently. Now you can just take this and just kind of wiggle it, or even hit it with your hand sometimes. There you go, and it pops out. Now we need to, now that we've got the belt released here, we need to release the belt around the actual tensioner itself. So let me go back down here, and I'm going to zoom back in. Now we're going to take the belt off the tensioner, and you can do that by moving the belt over the compressor and then sliding it this way like that, and then bringing it up and lift up a little bit and slide it out. You might have to wiggle the belt a little bit. There you go, and then get it out. Now don't let this belt drop. Bring this belt over here and hook it around your oil dipstick and around over here so it won't fall. Because if it falls, then you got to crawl into the vehicle and play around with the harmonic balancer. All right, now that we have the belt off, now we can go after the bolt. And there's a bolt right here between the pulleys, and that's why you can't get to that that bolt while the belt's on, because the belt goes right across that, so you can't even tell what size it is until you get the belt off. So let's go, let's get the deep socket and get it on there, and I'll show you and tell you what size it is and how to get it off. All right, using that same breaker bar, a 13mm deep socket and a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch to 3/8 drive adapter, you can break that bolt free right there, just like that. And then once you get it broke free, and be careful of your battery cable too, because it's, or battery postage right here. So don't, make sure you got something insulated there, or remove the battery cable. Some people just remove the battery cable for everything, but you know, that's up to you what you want to do. All right, once you get that broke free, go ahead and wiggle that, get it out. Now you can take your deep socket off, your 3/8 drive 13mm deep socket, and put it on a little stubby ratchet like this one. Sorry about the focus, it doesn't focus that closely. And you can come in over the top here. Now be careful of the fan blades. Let me reposition here. See these little fan blades right here, where those things can be razor sharp and they'll cut you, so be careful of those. All right, let's get this ratchet on here, and let's get this bolt out. And this is what's nice about the little stubby, is it goes a little quicker than if you had a full-size ratchet. It's also a little more compact, what makes it easier to get in there. And when you get close to it, ready to come out, go ahead and pull your ratchet off and your socket off, and then put the socket in your hand and hold the tensioner with the other one. And we'll actually take the tensioner out of the vehicle under the idler pulley. So let me, so we'll take the tensioner out this way and up under the idler pulley and out this huge area right here. It'll come out here. All right, so I'm going to get my hand down in here. The little ratchet seems to work better this way. Oh, sorry about that. I don't even know if you can see it, but let me pick it up and show it to you. Right here, like this. Okay, once it gets loose enough, you can just turn the socket a little bit like that with your hand, and eventually it should come out. Oh, I dropped it. Might be able to reach down there and grab it. There we go. Okay, got that. I don't know if I can come out this way or not. I'll give it a shot. See if I can get past the AC hoses here. I don't want to come out this way because I might hit the battery and short it out on the compressor here. So I'm going to go the other way like I originally said I would. So let's go this way. Move the camera back a little bit. There we go. I like this little flexible tripod that it comes with, or that I bought. All right, I should be able to come this way, maybe. There we go. Might have to move the fan again. Watch out for those fan blades. They're very sharp. All right, pull it up. All right, so here's that bolt. So we'll pull that out and we'll put it in the new one. Unless it's got a retaining clip like that, which is an O-ring. Forgot about that. So let's get this O-ring off of here and put it on the new one. All right, I got the O-ring off. Unfortunately, it was so old and brittle it just broke, so I went into the garage and got another one out of a little O-ring bin I have. So I'll just put that on there. And what the O-ring does is it helps keep the bolt in there, so when you're maneuvering this around, it doesn't fall out and make it difficult for you to find that bolt again. So that's what it does. All right, let's see if we can't get this other one back in here, the new one. So just bring it down here, let it rotate with the fan. You see the fan turning. Get your hand in on the underneath the compressor and kind of break. Whoa, and don't drop it like I did. Here we go. Bring it back up. Okay. And you can grab it by that little tower right here. I'm going to try to not get my hand in the way. This would be a heck of a lot. Oh, and there's these little bumps right here. There's one on each side of the bolt. Make sure those go in the proper section there. And let me see if I can't get the camera down in there. I'll just set this down on the bottom and then bring the camera down there and let you see that real quick. Right, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I will try to get the camera down in there and show you those little bump areas. It goes right there. It's got to go in there. Sorry about the hand in the way, but I got to hold this camera somehow. So let's get back out here. Okay, I've repositioned the camera to make it a little easier for you guys to see. Oh, this is loads of fun, trying to figure out where these holes are. There we go. I think I found one. Yep, I found it. Just gonna kind of wiggle around till you find the hole. And you can get your little stubby ratchet with your deep socket on it. And hopefully you can get it in there. Get that on it. This is where a palm ratchet would be really helpful. All right, once you get it to where it's just barely tight, take this and push it towards the truck engine and wiggle it until those two little pegs go in them holes like that. Then you can go ahead and get your ratchet back on there and finish tightening it down. Once you get it tightened down, give it a real good whirl with your short stubby. Don't strip it off, and then go get your torque wrench. Okay, the torque spec on this, I couldn't find it in the Haynes manual anywhere. I couldn't even find where it even talked about how to install a serpentine belt or a tensioner or idler pulley or nothing. The only thing it even referred to was getting the belt off, like I showed you at the beginning of the video. Nowhere in any of the procedures, like changing the compressor or the water pump or the alternator or the power steering pump, none of those places even had how to route the belt or what torque spec to tighten those pulley bolts down to. Nothing. I did find it in a Ford forum. It's 35 to 47 foot-pounds, so you can just divide that in half, the difference, and then add that to 35, and it comes out to 41 foot-pounds. So I have my torque wrench here, and if you've never set a torque wrench before and you went out and bought one just for this job or something else, which is commendable if you're going to be starting to do automobile mechanics, you definitely need a torque wrench. And this is a 1/2-inch torque wrench. I prefer it because you can put an adapter on it and still use it for 3/8. And the majority of everything that you need torqued is going to be in the foot-pounds that falls in this range. That's why they're so popular. So anyways, first thing you can do is back off your lock screw, and then metrics. If you deal with metrics, it'll be on this side. If you're dealing with foot-pounds, it'll be on this side. So we want to go ahead and tighten this up to where this 0 crosses the line where it says 40, which should be right here. So let's go ahead and do that. It's giving me problems. Hold on, let me get that set up for you. There we go. I'm not sure if I can really show this well or not. Let me try to zoom in. All right, here we go. Now you can see where the line comes down from the 40 and intersects this vertical line, this line, and the 0. Now I said the spec was 41, so you want to rotate it so that this 1 is on this line. All right, so now we're on 41 foot-pounds. So come down here and tighten this back up right here. Make sure this is fully clockwise and locked. And then your torque wrench is set up for the proper torque. Now to do the bolt that's on that tensioner, you're going to need a 1/2-inch to 3/8 adapter, and then you're going to need a 13mm socket to went past it. I think you got it though. You're going to need a 13mm socket. And if you don't know what that looks like, the adapter, that's what it looks like. So there'll be a big square hole in the bottom where this sits. So let's go ahead and let's get it back up on the engine, and I'll show you how to torque that down. All right, go ahead and set your ratchet so that it's clicking towards you and tightening this way. So that means when you're looking at it, the bolt's actually going clockwise. For you guys that know how to do this already, I apologize, but I try to make my videos for everybody. Those who know how to do mechanics and those who don't. I get that every once in a while, like, don't give us so much detail. It's like, well, people need to know if they're going to try to do this. All right, so put it on that bolt, and this is a what's called a click torque wrench. So you're going to push it until you hear it click. Hear that? Let me rub it up against here. All right, that's what you need right there. That is 41 foot-pounds, and that tensioner now is properly installed and torqued. Now you need to get the belt on. All right, now to get the belt on, you're going to need to know how the belt routes, just in case you manage to get it off of there. So here's the belt routing here. And the nice part about this is this particular setup is you do not have to route it over the fan. All you have to do is drop the belt down through here, loop it around this, come up the outside of the tensioner pulley, unless you have a dual alternator, then it would go this way. Go underneath it, over the alternator, underneath the idler pulley, around the alternator, and then around the power steering pump right here, or accessory pump. For what we're going to be doing until it's tensioned properly, we're going to go ahead and we're going to route it around here, around the top, over here, over the AC, and then we're not going to go underneath this because it would be too tight. We're going to come across the top. Then we're going to go ahead and put the breaker bar in here, loosen this up, take the belt and run it underneath the idler pulley, and then make sure that the belt is centered on all these pulleys, and then release it. And you can do that just by looking from the top. You can release it, look at them, and then come back and loosen it up again if you don't pull the breaker bar off. So let's go ahead and let's put this camera back up, and I will not going to show you how to install the belt. I assume you already know that since you're here and this diagram's here. I'm just going to show you how to route it. Let me zoom back out. I'm just going to show you how to route it around your tensioner pulley you just put in, assuming you followed my instructions and you did not take the belt off the bottom, and you just hooked it around the top. Oops, sorry about bumping the camera there. And you just hooked it around the top right here, so that the belt wouldn't fall off of everything, because if it's not here, it'll just fall down, and then you'll have to do that full belt routing. It's a real pain in the butt. I will say the one caveat though on putting in a serpentine belt, and I'll probably make a video on this later, is that depending on the hose you have, if you have to replace this belt, you're going to have to take this off. Now some trucks, they have the belt, they come behind the belt right here where this is, and they have a clamp around it, and then they come up here and then they go in here. There's an advantage for that. It's easy to change the serpentine belt that way without having to break into the water system. Disadvantage is that if you do that and the belt decides to shred, a lot of times the shreddings will actually cut the belt then, and you'll lose all your antifreeze, and your truck will overheat, and you won't know why you're stuck at the road, and you could blow your engine. So I think that's why they started routing them this way. You could go ahead and buy one of those hoses and then put like a stainless steel coupler or shield over it, so if the belt did go, it wouldn't cut your hose. Me, it's no big deal. I got this, so I'm not too worried about it. All right, and I did have a belt on this shred the other day, and that's why this older belt is on here. If you remember some of my other videos, I had a frayed belt and it finally went. All right, let's go ahead and get this on. I'm going to set the camera up for you, and then I'll show you how to route it. Okay, to route the belt, go ahead and pick it up from here. Then you're going to make a loop like this, and then that loop is going to come down here. Let's get it let's get it through there. Gonna make that little loop, and that little loop is gonna go around the smooth pulley down here, and then the other half of that loop that's not smooth is gonna come around the tooth pulley. Let me pick the camera up and show you. Okay, so that loop, I ran that loop around this smooth pulley right here, and then I brought the other part of that loop up over where the teeth are right here. All right, now we're going to take the belt and we're going to lift it up. You can turn it sideways a little bit, and we're going to bring it over here. Now you have to remember that you got to get these teeth all lined up. See how it's misaligned? So you got to line it up here like that. Make sure it's lined up down here. Take a look way down in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in. There you go. See that harmonic balancer? That is this part right here, that the tooth is there properly. So let me zoom out. Gonna make sure this is smooth, like I said. Let me zoom in on this one. And let's see if we can't come from the top over here. Let's see. Sorry about all the moving around. All right, here you go. This right here, when you actually tighten it up, this part right here will have to be in the middle of the pulley. All right, then we're gonna come over here to the alternator right here and make sure that it's not off, like that. Make sure it's in the grooves. And then your power steering right down here, make sure it's in the grooves properly and the belts are hanging off. All right, let's go ahead and zoom back out, and we're going to come over here and we're going to put that little tensioner, or I'm sorry, we're going to put that breaker bar on there. And then we're going to take the belt that's up here, and we're going to run it underneath the idler pulley and release the tensioner. So let me, sorry about the racket, let me get my breaker bar, set it in here. Okay, now it's got to go in that little square hole. I think you can see that in the film, can't you? Yeah, you can see it. It's got to go in. Whoa! I'm on my tire step. Put a link to that and I'll show that to you. There we go. All right, push on that, make sure it gets in. All right, now you're going to pull this towards you like that, and you're going to take the belt and run it underneath that idler pulley right there. Okay, and then you're going to slowly release it. There you go. Now before you take your tool out, do the same thing again. Check all your belts, make sure everything is proper. Make sure all the pulleys and everything have the belts in the right tooth order. Look down there at that harmonic balancer right there. That's a biggie. That's where the crankshaft connects to the harmonic balancer, so that's a biggie. I mean, all of them are biggies. Make sure your AC, your idler pulley, you can see where the wear mark is. So if that belt lines up pretty much with the wear marks, you pretty much got it right. Check your alternator. Go down and check your power steering pulley. Make sure the belt's lined up on that one. Let's see if I can see that. Oh, there it is. I was looking at the water pump. Sorry about that. And that's one too, although it just goes over the top. All right, everything looks good here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this off of here. A lot of times you can just grab that and just crank it like that and it'll come right off. Don't worry about hitting your radiator, the fan's in the way. And don't forget, those blades are very sharp. They will cut the snot out of you, so be careful. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a quick inspection right here, and everything looks good. Check my engine, back out, make sure there's nothing in the fan belts or anything. I'm going to jump in the car, and I'm not going to start it. If it starts, it'll be by accident. I'm just going to turn it over, and then I'm going to come back and make sure that the belt, it didn't shred or is still on track. So let me go do that real quick. I'll let the camera run for that portion. All right, that's all you needed, was just turn the engine over to make sure the belts moved and that they stayed in the groove. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna do another inspection on this. And this is something every automobile mechanic, even a professional, should be doing when they're done changing the serpentine belt. I made the mistake a few years ago of not doing that. Look at this right here. See, here's my backup mount. Look at that. Yeah. So this one's going to be going sometime soon. But I have a brand new belt in the back, and I'll be changing that. And I'll probably make a video just on that. I'll probably make another video on how to change the idler pulley if it's squealing. All right, everything looks good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the motor this time, and I'm going to listen for the squeal. See if the squeal is gone. Remember the squeal at the beginning of the video? All right, let's go crank this. All right, guys, it looks like that's pretty much it there, and I hope you guys learned something. And one other tool you might need is if it's really hot out, you might want to put up your mechanic's shade tarp right here. See that? Yeah, this is my mechanic's shade tarp. I love this thing. I got a little video on my channel on how to build one of these and what you got to do in order to get it, including part numbers and stuff and where to buy the stuff. I'll put a link to that in there too. I hope the video was useful to both novices and professionals. God bless you all, and thanks for watching. Keith Nunny out. Bye.